now early August, 7 weeks since I last got out on the section of Long Trail I've adopted, and head out now just kind of do a check on it. I don't have any real particular goals, but I want to get a check on it because it has been quite a bit of time, and in that time we've had a not insubstantial amount of rain in the state. Some areas have gotten hit very badly by flooding. For me, fortunately, this area is not one of the places that has gotten hit so bad by flooding. I don't think it got so much rain here, at least like some of the river valley near here got flooded pretty substantially, but the uplands didn't get hit so bad because the rain all fell higher up in the watershed, and certainly rained here. So I have a little bit of desire to make sure that the drainage bars didn't get silted in, but I'm not expecting major damage like I would in some other areas of the state that got hit substantially worse in this last month. Not my typical tool I've been using for this trail work, and well, it's not really intentional. Even though a small shovel like this isn't a bad tool for this kind of light trail work, I could imagine situations where I bring this intentionally. That wasn't the intention today because, well, what happened is packed up my backpack last night, but I don't store the trail work tools up in my room where I was packing up my backpack. So I was like, I'll get them in the morning. And well, you can guess what happened. I totally forgot to get them in the morning and realized partway through the day at work that I didn't have them, but still out here because this small shovel and the axe are tools that I keep in my car just for, well, digging myself out if I get generally stuck in a snowbank, and particularly I choose the metal shovel because it's more versatile than the snow shovel, particularly when you have to deal with really icy snowbanks, which is kind of often where people get stuck when they crash into. I've had to dig a couple cars out, fortunately not mine, out of icy snowbanks, and plastic snow shovels don't work very well. And then a small axe for dealing with trees that fall across the road if I'm driving somewhere. So that's why I ended up with these tools, which saved the day for me. Instead of not being able to come and do trail work today, I was able to grab these tools and, well, come out here and do the trail work. Right here, this is an area I grass whipped 7 weeks ago, and even though it's been substantially longer now from when kind of the growing season started to when I grass whipped, and then from now to grass whip, that now to grass whip's been longer, but because just of this type of plants, it wouldn't be the case for grasses as much, though still somewhat for grasses. They don't grow back as much after you've cut them the first time. Still very nice and open, and it will remain this way for the remainder of the season. So just doing it once early season works. You don't have to come back out and do it multiple times. Not quite sure how this is going to go with my small axe. Will just depend how dead this tree is versus how rotten it is. When I brought the saw last time, this would probably be about the upper limit of what that could do, but it would work fairly well even on like hard dead wood, which can be really difficult with a axe, but this seems to not be too bad so far. And yeah, I'm not wearing long pants and kind of high topish boots, but that's because what I intended to come today with was the saw, and didn't think I'd be using an axe. I do have safety toes in these shoes. And also, it's pretty hot today. I would not be having any fun with long pants. I can do pretty well with long pants, but today would just be too much. Especially long pants that would give any sort of protection against an axe chop. I should say that. Those would be way too much today. See if I have to make another axe cut, or I can just move this out of the way. I can just move this out of the way. Good. The Green Mountain Club asks trail adopters to visit their trail segment, go through it 3 times a year. So I guess I'm done for the year. Well, not really, because what they really want is they want 1 preseason visit, 1 summer visit, and 1 fall visit. And it isn't fall time yet, even though I've done 3 visits. Not that they mind if you do more than 3 visits a year. But I still will want to get through 1 more time this fall and just kind of do the whole section. But I hope to come out here more than that, more than just that 1 more time. My understanding is that kind of what the trail adopter is expected to do is do those 3 visits and kind of do some brushing, clear out the water bars, and just kind of see if there's any major issues that maybe need a more substantial help, or just planning. It might take some time to get it, I imagine, but just something else. But I know I have the skills to build rock water bars, and if I have the time and can hopefully get a couple other people to maybe come help me. Last year in the fall, I did a trip with a couple other people and did some kind of more substantial drainage work. And I think in one spot we kind of installed a rock water bar, not a super great one, but that trip was, the intention was to cover more ground than just a tiny little bit of the area. Whereas I think if I do this again, I would not try to cover ground. I would just try to go in a little bit and try to solve some issue spots. But this trip, I'm not sure how I feel about its necessity. It was 7 weeks, and that was definitely starting to get feeling like I needed to come out here and take a look at this again, particularly given that the next time I would be able to is 3 weeks from now. And for the most part, this didn't need any work. The drainage bars, like, just needed they're just not even half of them, way less than half of them needed any sort of cleaning out. And yeah, probably 20% needed a little bit of cleaning out, which is good to do, but it definitely, none of them were urgent. And I picked up a couple sticks out of the trail that I was able to just move out of the way without needing to get my axe out. And kind of at that point, I was feeling a little bit like, not that I shouldn't come out here and do something, but that maybe instead of patrolling the whole trail, I should have come out and tried to build a rock water bar, because, or even if I didn't feel like building it, I could at least go quarry for stones and find the stones that maybe a second time out I could build it with. But getting those trees felt good to get. Neither of them, in addition to the one I showed on video, there's another tree that I cut with my axe, and neither of them were they weren't like super brushy, blocking the way, and you could relatively easily step over them. But it was good to get there with the axe and clear them out. It went from this is not worth it to, yeah, it was good that I went out and did the patrol, because there were things that needed to be done kind of the whole distance. But even though I didn't have the tools I intended to bring along, the ones I brought along were perfectly adequate for what I ended up doing or finding.